Hi guys, welcome to the live stream tonight. I just started this live stream and then I got cut off. But now we're starting again. Okay, so join in guys and get cozy. We're gonna be in for a really beautiful chat. Hi guys, hi, thanks for jumping back on. So just starting over from the beginning. So I've got with me my beautiful hawk feather. That this is such a sacred item for me. I received this from the universe on a walk with my dog after delivering my first workshop about this topic right here, about the cycles of consciousness. And it was so beautiful to receive this from the universe. And that often happens for me. When I do something out of my comfort zone or something that that I've done that's in alignment with my dharma, I'll often receive a feather or some kind of sign from the universe saying, yes, keep going on this path. So it's really beautiful to have that sort of communication and communication with the intelligent universe that we have around us. So my hawk feather is joining us tonight, and I received another hawk feather shortly after that workshop when I delivered a very spontaneous talk about the golden age and the cycles of consciousness. So yeah, it's so beautiful. I'm sure that you guys have something that sort of happens for you that might be a little bit phenomenal, a little bit something that where your angels or guides are speaking to you. Funny enough, sometimes blankets, and not to go into a big story, but sometimes spirit will speak to me through blankets, whether people gift me blankets or folding blankets, this kind of thing. This is another way that the universe speaks to me. And I think that everybody has a little something different where spirit and their spirit guides speak to them. And then just recently, about 6 months ago, I received an owl feather on one of my walks, and that was such a beautiful sign of wisdom and moving forward and maturity. So yeah, so beautiful. So we've got these power items with us for this chat tonight. All right, guys. So thanks for jumping back on. We got cut off there, so I'm going to jump back in. So I'm going to share a slide here. So the cycles of consciousness. So this has been a topic for me that has really, really changed my life. It has really helped me shift my my beliefs and my thoughts around what this reality is and what it is that we're doing here. So I really hope that once you learn this concept, that it will really help you see things a little bit differently as far as the world goes and what's happening on the world stage. So this is the cycles of consciousness from the yogic tradition, and it is a map of where humanity's consciousness is at currently and the cycles that we go through. So this is a count by Sri Yukteswar, who I'll show you a picture of in a minute here. But so there are different counts of the cycles of consciousness and exactly where we're at. But this one is from Sri Yukteswar, and he says that it is a 24,000 year cycle, 12,000 years of descending consciousness on the right side of the circle, and 12,000 years of ascending consciousness on the left side of the circle. And this aligns with the approximately 26,000 year cycle of the precession of the equinox, which is in astrology where we move into the sign of Aquarius. And that's what we are moving into now. And it's since it's such a long cycle, we've been moving into it. So we're into the age of Aquarius. And so you'll see here, looking at the Iron Age. So the Iron Age is when humanity's consciousness is at its most dense. It is at a time where we begin to really forget who we are and where we come from. They say it is a time where we begin to look outside of ourselves for happiness and joy. That's why there's such an emphasis on materialism and image during this time, and consumerism, and all of that sort of thing. It's a time when humanity essentially forgets our divinity. So then we have ascending consciousness on the left side, where we begin to move up out of it into bronze, and then silver, and then eventually into the golden age, or Satya Yuga. So Sat meaning truth. And you can see the size of this portion of the circle is much longer than the Iron Age. So we get to experience the Golden Age, or the Truth Age, for much, much longer than the Iron Age. And it's said that we live much longer too in the Golden Age. So the average life in the Iron Age, we know, is like 80 to 100 years old. In the Golden Age, we would be living like 250 to maybe 500. And then maybe at the peak, I would say maybe almost 1,000, like maybe 800, almost 1,000 years old in one lifetime, in one avatar, in one body. And it's a beautiful time. It's a time when we begin to remember who we are and our divinity and the truth within us, and that we are God-embodied beings. And we essentially live our lives in accordance with natural law, in accordance with the golden rule, loving thy neighbor and loving thy creator. So our actions would, we would always consider the earth, the creator, the environment before we take actions. We would always consider our neighbors, other people before taking action. And that's how we arrive at order in the Golden Age, is through natural law and aligning all of our actions to natural law. Because we have expanded consciousness and expanded awareness, we're able to much easier understand how to behave and how to act as a one family, as one humanity, in order to have joy and freedom and order for all. It's absolutely a beautiful time. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. So at the end of the Golden Age, we experience a fall in consciousness into silver consciousness, so Treta Yuga, down into bronze, or Dwapara Yuga, the Bronze Age, and eventually again the Iron Age, or the Kali Yuga. So we're experiencing this as a collective, as collective humanity, as all these individual souls. But really, when you zoom out and you think of the one source, the one creator, the source from which we all come from, really this cycle is just like a cosmic day. You could think of it like a cosmic day, like a sun rising and a sun setting for the creator, for the Godhead. And within that, within our own individual experiences, we experience all kinds of different experiences, because we're all having a completely different life from one another, and we're all having a different experience, having different lessons, but it's all adding up to the one supreme, and all of the lessons and learnings that we gather in our life for the greater good of all. So that is the cycle of consciousness. And like I said, it's 24,000 year cycle, and it is in alignment, or rather it's very close to the 26,000 year cycle of the Age of Aquarius. Now, there are some scholars that say that, oh no, we're still heavy into the Iron Age. We're not out of the Iron Age yet. And these are scholars that are looking at history, looking at the history we've been told, which we know has been very much skewed. So it's very hard to really know dates, because our history has been rewritten, skewed, hidden from us. So it can be very difficult to really know exactly where we are in this cycle. But like I said, this is Sri Yukteswar's count. and it's in alignment with the precession of the equinox. So I'll show you a picture of Sri Yukteswar. So incredible yogi. He was Paramahansa Yogananda's Swami and mentor, and Paramahansa wrote about him in his famous book called Autobiography of a Yogi. And it's a famous book, has sold just millions of copies, and it's very much about their relationship, Sri Yukteswar and Paramahansa Yogananda. Another great book I would totally recommend to check out. And so he is the one that says that this is the count that we're going by, that we are coming up out of the Iron Age, that we're actually already past that point, and we're into, I'll just pull this up again, we're into the Bronze Age on the left side of the screen. And how I know that this to be true is I like to think about, if we were in the middle of the Iron Age, would anyone really be awake? Would any of us really be questioning much of anything at all? I think just through the observation that there are many people waking up to the reality of the world that we live in, and waking up to our true sovereign rights as human beings, as spiritual divine souls here, that there's no way that we would be in the middle of the Iron Age. I feel like many of us would be quite asleep to the deception and the lies of the Iron Age. And yeah, so I truly believe we absolutely are already into the Bronze Age. So I'm going to show you another one just quick so you can see the count. So here we go. So 24,000 years, so 12,000 years of descending and 12,000 of ascending. So you can see the Kali Yuga there is only 1,200 years. So that does make a lot more sense to me. And of course the Satya Yuga is many more years than that. And of course, wouldn't we design it that way, guys? If we are truly emanations of the one creator, then it makes sense that we wouldn't experience we wouldn't experience the muck and the mud for longer than a beautiful Satya truth age and golden age. So okay. So here's another slide I'll just show you quick. So here there's Sri Yukteswar up in the top right corner. So the cycle of global consciousness. So do you see how on the left side of the circle, it's as if the age before is like a corkscrew that is passing. It's almost like we're in this eternal spiral of evolving consciousness, and that we never experience the same thing again, not the exact same thing, but the same kind of essence of moving away from truth and then coming back home to truth. And you can see, I know it's very tiny print, but there were many sages and ascended masters that came during this time to illuminate humanity and help us. You can see Jesus Christ there. You can see Buddha, Patanjali, I think Da Vinci, Aristotle, Lao Tzu. Many ascended masters came during this time to assist us, to help bring light into the world, because it's such a dark time. So we never experience the exact same thing again, but we do experience the similar, like I said, like a corkscrew of ever-evolving consciousness. Now, there are a few people that I've seen speaking about, what about if we didn't have to experience the Iron Age ever again? And as an eternal optimist, as an idealist, I would absolutely say, you know what, maybe that is possible. It's really it's hard for us to really truly know, because this time has been so challenging and so dark for so many. It's like, really, do we really need to experience that again? Well, maybe, and maybe not. Maybe we truly graduate. Maybe humanity truly takes back our power, and we truly graduate to perhaps another realm, perhaps another level of another cycle of some kind. And that's really just kind of a mystery to us. But thankfully, we do have these beautiful wisdom traditions to illuminate for us, what are these times that we're in? I don't know about you, but personally, I feel like I was born knowing that something like a better world could be possible, and not that I'm ungrateful for my life or that I don't have gratitude for the things in my life right now, right? But when I was growing up and I was learning about the world, and I was, venturing out from my small town into a city, and I'm looking around, I'm this is a city, where's the places where people meet and the beautiful, inspiring places and art, and I just remember feeling wait a minute, how come it's not how I know it's possible in my heart, and I think a lot of us were probably born knowing and feeling we were born knowing that it could be better here. And I think that there's a very specific reason for that. I think that a lot of us are born in with this knowing, with this sense, because we're meant to bring about this beautiful new world. Where we come in as children and we're hang on, wait a minute, I don't know about this. And we reject it and we resist it. And we're meant to reject it. We're meant to reject the old obsolete system because we're born in new. And we're here to build a new world. Here to build a better world that we know is more fitting for humanity and all of the future generations. So put a 111 in the chat if that's you, if you were kind of born knowing that, hang on, I think we could build something better here. And one of the saddest things is that we've never really had encouragement in, school and family of allowing yourself to imagine what a utopia could be like, and what it would be like, and what your role would be in this beautiful golden age of time. But regardless, rejecting reality doesn't really get us anywhere. And, I feel like we knew what we were getting into when we incarnated into these bodies. We knew the time we were going to come into. We knew that we were going to go through this great upheaval. We knew that we had, essentially this is just the most beautiful, incredible adventure story that's ever been written. We're all a part of it. This is humanity's epic story, and we're writing it as we go. We're writing it, and it's beautiful and it's epic. So we're here, and because we're incarnated here, just because we're incarnated here, means that we have everything that it takes to go through it. So put a 111 in the chat if you're feeling me. All right, fam. So what if, right? What if we don't have to experience it again? Maybe not. But I just feel that knowing that, that a golden age is possible has always made me feel okay, I can get through this. If I know, because the yogic traditions are so close to my heart. Yoga has helped me in so many ways in my life. So I really do. I love all of the teachings from the yogic tradition. And just to know, okay, it can be better here. There is the potential for a golden age. This period of time of deception and lies and chaos is temporary. So it's okay, well, right now it's like this. And if I know that, then, I can better understand my role in this world. Because I think maybe oftentimes we might feel like we don't belong if you've always just kind of looked at the world hang on, wait a minute, am I being punked? Yeah. Anyways, I lost my train of thought there, but you mentioned light bringers, Rudy. Yes. Shout out to St. Thomas More. Okay. all right, I'm not familiar with that person, but I like it. Let's go. But yeah, like if it just brings me such a beautiful sense of peace and calm, knowing, okay, the feeling that I've been born with, born knowing that this beautiful reality is possible, you know, it will happen in the future. And it might not happen in my lifetime. Okay, I can accept that. Because I do believe in reincarnation, and I'm going to be back probably to experience the golden age. And yeah, it's, again, that is a mystery to us. Where we're going after this, we can learn from the wisdom traditions. We can contemplate it and whatnot. But it truly is a mystery to us in the end. But yeah, and that's why too we're seeing the evil in the world rise. It seems like it's rising. It's been evil for a long time, for 1,200 years, but but it seems as though it's getting worse, right? Like, it's like, hang on, I can really see the evil like coming through the news and everything, and through other people's brainwashing as well. And it's easier to see, especially during COVID times. But that doesn't mean that evil is rising. That means that evil's dying. That's how I perceive it. Is that it's almost like the death throes of the dark forces. Some people have said, like, it seems like they're rushing things forward, like the digital ID and the this and the that, right? And they're getting kind of sloppy about things, because people are waking up as well. And it's funny because when evil gets, when it seems to rise and it seems to get like more evil, it sort of like has a unintended consequence of like waking more people up, because more people are like, whoa, this is getting weird. Now we got to talk about this. This is really strange. Right? So it does. So when evil rises, it's rising to try to grasp hold of the last bit of control that it has, by dampening our spiritual awakening, by spraying chemtrails over our head, poisoning the food, poisoning us with those, by, just in all the different ways, the frequencies, trying to dampen our spiritual awakening so that they can hold on to their last bit of control before the eventual awakening of humanity occurs. And it'll occur like an exponential critical mass, which we'll talk about in a minute. But don't want to lose my train of thought there, but what was I going to say? That essentially, like, we will, evil seems to be rising, but that's just because they're trying to keep control. But when evil rises, it has that unintended consequence of waking more people up, right? So that's quite interesting. And you could say, this is kind of echoing what Paul Chek has said in the past, which is that evil serves the light. It serves the light. It like wakes up the light within us. So critical mass. Let's talk about critical mass. So you've maybe heard this thrown around before, because you're probably thinking, well, okay, if we're out of the Kali Yuga, things seem pretty dark still, right? And what is going to be that determining factor that's going to start to wake everybody up, and we're gonna like move faster potentially into very noticeable higher states of consciousness? Well, like, let me tell you guys, we're at the precipice of it right now. And it's a very amazing time to be alive. So critical mass is this interesting chemistry term. Okay. So critical mass, think of it, it's a chemistry term. So think of it like two substances mixed together, and it creates a reaction of some kind, and it begins to grow in size. And think about this in relation to consciousness, right? So it begins to grow in size, and it's growing, but then it reaches a critical mass point, which means that it's reached the mass at which now the growth is sort of out of control. and it's exponential. So the growth was like small, boom, 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 critical mass, doubling in size. And that's totally going to happen with our consciousness. We're going to reach critical mass at some point, and I think it has to do with how many individuals are awake. We just affect the whole, just by being awake ourselves, and by speaking, by planting seeds. Doing what you can to share what you can online and in your personal circle as well. You don't have to just share things online, but I think that's important. That's why it's important to continue to try to help wake people up. I know a lot of people have thrown in the towel and been like, it's too hard. And, I'm getting, backlash left, right, and center. And believe me, I've had some backlash as well, and been ostracized and lost friends and so on, and been called things, and, But you have to follow your truth, and you have to follow your dharma, and that's what I'm doing. And the more people we can speak to and help awaken will help in that critical mass point. And it'll just be like little lights waking up, and it'll happen, I think, pretty fast. And it'll be challenging for many people, where like the veil has just been like ripped off. Whereas for some of us, we've been awake for a while now, and we've been slowly uncovering certain things. So at least we can ease into it, although it can be very exhausting, and many of us are reaching soul level fatigue with awakening, where you're wanting to connect with people around you, wanting to connect with people who think like you, who have a similar soul, who are in the same soul group, or your soul fam, right? People who think like you, who are on the same frequency. It can be really hard. And yeah, I'm experiencing like the soul fatigue, but keep up with your spiritual practices. For me, yoga, meditation, singing, connecting to spirit, all these things help me, and connecting to these teachings as well, and reminding myself over and over, okay, this is where we're at. It seems to be taking a long time, but that's my own perception of time, and seeing these cycles of the yugas are just very helpful to, for your own state of being, knowing that things are moving forward, people are waking up, we are experiencing the awakening of humanity and the changing of the yugas and the cycle of consciousness. Gonna read some of your notes here in the chat. Okay. Good stuff, Rudy. I don't know too much about that, but very interesting. I'll definitely look into Thomas more. Thank you. And so, interesting to consider that these times are the apocalypse. Knowing that the word apocalypse sounds very scary, but actually the real meaning of apocalypse means to uncover, to unveil. Apo is un. Kaluptine is like the Latin for covering, hiding. Apocalypse. And being able to see what was previously hidden from humanity. So it truly is an awakening. It truly is an apocalypse, which means an unveiling. When they talk about occult knowledge, occult just means hidden from view. We tend to associate occult with darkness and like evil, and yeah, it is, because the dark forces are keeping so much knowledge from humanity. And really, oculus, eyes, occult, that's just what that means. And there will be a time when all of that knowledge is unveiled to humanity. And like I said, for some people it might be like too much, and they're going to fry out like a computer, almost like with too much information, and they can't believe it, and their own belief systems are being challenged, and so on. And yeah, it probably will be a very challenging time. Like, I'm not gonna lie. the thing is we all probably know on a soul level that the old has to burn essentially in order to create the new. I really don't believe we are at a place that we could like fix things, like that we could vote someone else in and get some right people into government and whatever. It's too corrupt. It really is. It has such a stranglehold on humanity, and I just personally feel I don't think it can be fixed. It's going to come to some kind of collapse of some kind. Now the controllers will try to do like a controlled demolition and then move in with their so-called solutions, which will be like digital ID and potentially UBI, universal basic income, but which is a great thing, great idea, because everybody's really struggling financially. But they'll eventually put conditions upon it, like you have to take this many things in order to get your UBI, or you have to you cannot leave your district, your location, or you lose your UBI. They'll put carbon credits on it, like if you buy a steak and that's like 20 carbon credits, then you've used up half of your allowable carbon credits for the month, kind of thing. Like they're trying to do all of this madness and control. But we'll see. Like I said, we're writing the story, and it's in humanity's hands to wake up to first of all wake up to this, and then take our power back as well. So yeah, incredible times. And this is like a very sobering conversation, like I know that for some people it might be scary to consider, the systems that we've all known and that we've all grown up relying on could fall. And what does that mean for your day-to-day life? What does that mean for all of us? Like it's, it could mean, our mind can go into all different kinds of scenarios, like famine or, breakdown of supply chains. You can't get food, you can't get dog food, can't get baby food, you can't get this, that, whatever. But the thing is that we have to really embody the most incredible trust at this time too, because one of the things that I know for sure in my heart is that there's more than meets the eye as to what is helping us awaken during this time. And you just have to have this ultimate trust that the elements, I've said this before, the elements are helping us awaken, like this, the light from the sun, the light codes from the sun. Things are changing. The water, structured water, getting your body into Mother Nature's bodies of water, the earth's magnetism, the prana, the ether, the prana in the air that we breathe, all of these things, these are sustenance for us. And, we identify so much with eating because that's what we've always known, but there are people out there, I've seen accounts of them, and I've also heard of yogis who are living their lives meditating every day under a Bodhi tree, and they're not eating or drinking at all. So what's possible for us is really beyond our current understanding. And like I said, we need to have this unbelievable, amazing amount of trust during this time that whatever happens, whatever's thrown at us, right? Famine, you can't get things that you used to be able to get, whatever. Yes, there will be a lot of death and destruction, I'm sure. But again, like when you understand what this reality is and what this life is as well, and that you're never born, you never die, you don't need to fear. And to trust that what is happening, like I said, there may be things that are going to happen that we couldn't even just contemplate. Like I said, there is these accounts, like this one woman, I read her account, or I watched her account, incredible. Like she has not eaten for 2 years. This is her claim, right? And a lot of people say, well, maybe she's lying, and maybe part of it, but she hasn't eaten or drank and very rarely like sleeps as well. And it just shows like blasting through the narrative that we've always been taught about eating 3 times a day and needing all of these things. And that, she's blasting through the narrative of that whole thing and showing what's possible. Now, is that possible for the average person? Maybe not, like right now, like especially if you have a lot of stress and you've got a job and you're like, a full-time job and your family, lots of pressure, food is anti-stress, and it's one of the things that helps us through this time. But as our consciousness is rising and awakening, it's like maybe our actual physical needs are going to change because we're in God consciousness. We're in a higher state of consciousness. Our prana is higher. Like I said, the air we breathe could be changing. And there's breatharians out there who do these specific practices, and we do get sustenance from the air we breathe. We absolutely do, but maybe we haven't really been truly taught about how much sustenance we actually get. And like I said, everything is changing. Everything's in flux. I truly believe the elements are also going to help us awaken. So, and I tend to believe that in the Iron Age is when we eat meat. We eat animals. So now I'm going to touch on this for a minute. And I want to preface it by saying I have been vegan. I have been vegetarian. I have been like carnivore and an omnivore. And I'm an omnivore now. And I don't have any like dogmatic, strict rules really. I eat intuitively, and I've seen firsthand, like I used to have really bad acne, and I've seen firsthand how at the time I wasn't getting the nutrients that I needed because I was following a vegan and vegetarian lifestyle. But I believe that in the golden age, I don't think we're going to eat much at all. I think that eating will be like not even a necessity. It might be just something you might choose to do to have an experience. Like for instance, maybe we'll just have fruit from time to time. Wild growing fruit, maybe nuts, maybe, structured water where you pray health, intend health into the water, you drink it and it heals you and sustains you. Fruit, air, sunlight. I think these are the things that we will subsist off of in the golden age. So let's just pull up that chart again as I'm talking about this. So yeah, like I said, in the Iron Age, like when I was no longer vegan and I had to reconcile my new beliefs, and I saw that eating meat was helping me feel better and solving my acne, and goat milk was actually, I think, the thing that really solved my acne. And I had it for years, very painful adult acne. And anyway, so when I no longer was vegan, vegetarian, I had to reconcile my new beliefs and like the evidence that I needed animal nutrition at that time. I was very stressed as well. But it makes sense to me that in the Iron Age, we eat the animals. Now, I think whether you're a meat eater or you're a vegetarian, vegan, I think we can all agree that it is weird that we eat the animals. Like, it's, when you have a relationship with a dog or a cat or a farm animal of some kind, like donkey or who knows what, right? Like, we can have these incredible bonds with these animals, and we see the heart and the beauty within them. And it seems weird. It's weird. It's weird that we eat the animals. I would have to concur and agree. But it makes sense that during the Iron Age, during the time of humanity's most dense consciousness, where we are so far from the truth within ourselves, and we're so distracted by the external, right? It's when we turn outward and we look to the material world to make ourselves happy, and all the addictions and food addiction and the stress of living in this ridiculous clown world. It makes sense that we would kind of need the nutrition from animals and the life force from animals during this time. Now, I think that as we do ascend, naturally we'll realize we don't need that much nutrition. We don't need that much from animals. And I think there will be a natural kind of going away from animal foods. And that when we're in the golden age, like I said, like I don't think we'll be eating much at all. And I've joked with, my friend Amanda, saying like, won't it be great when we don't have to wash dishes so much and make meals and shop for food and all this, yeah, and it's like, do we really need the 3 meals a day as well? Like, which also could be a bit of programming, right? But like I said, food is anti-stress. If do never feel shameful about what you need to eat in order to feel good and like yourself. As long as you're not a glutton, and as long as you're not squandering your time and squandering the energy that you get from meat, and you're showing up as a truthful human, following your dharma, and you're not an asshole, right? You're a good person, you're doing what you can for the collective. If you need to eat meat and drink goat milk and so on, like, don't have any shame around that at all. You can imagine that even the animals, when they incarnate into this time, they know that they're coming in to help humanity. They know that they're part of God consciousness, and they're coming in to serve humanity's consciousness and serve lessons and learnings, and and they come in knowing that. That's potential. I think that is potential. But like I said, when we move up out of the Iron Age and into bronze and silver, I think that we'll naturally begin to eat less and eat more, probably fruits and veggies. And like I said, learning breath work, herbs, sunlight, grounding, swimming in Mother Earth's bodies of water, all of these things. So that's something really interesting to ponder. I really, like I said, when I was coming out of veganism, I had to reconcile my new inner standing that, okay, because of my high stress living in a city at the time, and because life itself can be quite stressful, especially living in the Kali Yuga, that, if you need meat to give your body what it needs at this time to be the healthiest that it can be, there's absolutely no shame around that. And that's just the times that we're in. That's it. You just gotta think of it like that. But again, yeah, in the golden age, I think we'll be relieved of the incessant having to eat and and having to wash dishes and shop and all the rest. Imagine how much more time we'll have. Yeah, so I know that things are challenging, guys. I know that we're getting squeezed right now. Like, not only just financially, because I know so many people are really in it right now. We're all getting really squeezed financially, but it's also, we're being squeezed like in the birth canal before our great awakening, before our rebirth. It's like the birthing pangs, how challenging it is. I know personally sometimes I feel great and amazing and so connected to my mission and connected to others and divine love and God creator and these times and my dharma and all these wonderful feelings, and I'm like walking on air almost throughout those days. And then there's other days where the energies feel so heavy and tense, and where I really have to do my practices to feel grounded, and like you can't skip it. Like it can be so intense some days. And I've heard other friends saying this as well, that they've experienced this too. So if you're also experiencing that, you're not alone. Know that these beneficial energies are coming through at this time to help humanity awaken. But that also too, we've been inundated by unnatural 60 gigahertz 5G frequencies as well, which is just going up and up and up. So kind of a frequency war at the same time as a spiritual war. So yeah, thank you guys for chilling out with me this long as I kind of jump from subject to subject, but I hope this was really informative and helped you gain like a greater, more zoomed out perspective on this period of time. So yeah, so I'll just end by saying I want you to know that you have infinite worth. That no matter what, because we live in these times where we assess our own value by how much money we can make, by how efficient we are, by how, how many assets we have and physical things, and that it can be really challenging to feel like every single day your value is less and less and your worth is less and less when you look outside and you see, as life gets more expensive and so on. But I just want you to know that you have infinite worth. Just by being alive, you have infinite worth. Just by being incarnated as a human being, you have infinite worth. By getting up every day and just doing your best, you've done enough. You're valuable. So I just want to remind you of that. And to remind you too that the dark forces of this world, the dark forces is certainly not growing. It is absolutely dying. It is on its way out. Even though it appears like it's rising, even though it appears like on the news, like, oh, what's coming next? What are they going to do next? I want you to have faith in humanity's awakening and the story that we're all writing together, and to continually remind yourself of the cycles of the yugas, and that everything is always in flux. And it's not always going to be this way. And that joy and love and truth are possible here. Are possible for all of humanity. So we're going to see a lot in our time, but you just hold in your heart a knowing that you're here on a divine mission, on a divine assignment. And if you can discover your Dharma and live your Dharma, you will be utilizing your time here in the best way possible. And really, my favorite quote, your life is the greatest gift, and what you do with it is the greatest gift in return. So know that the dark forces are definitely dying, not growing, and you have infinite worth. All right, guys, I love you. Thank you for staying for this live. Remember that you can always join my private subscriber community on the free speech platform Locals. You can find that link in my bio. And, just go to the link, make a profile, and just click follow. So you'll be able to get some of my content for free. And that way we'll be connected. Because let me tell you, it's, your truth tellers, all your favorite truth speakers, you're going to want to connect with them on other platforms, because it's not forever that we're going to be able to speak this way on these platforms. So definitely make sure you connect with your favorite creators, your favorite truth tellers. Thank you, Rudy. Appreciate you. Aw. Yeah. What else? I'm working on an ebook called What is My Dharma? So if you want a little bit more clarity on that, you can send me a DM with your email, and I'll let you know when that drops, which hopefully will be very soon. And stay tuned for Tuesday Night Lives. Next week, I think we're going to be talking about the dark forces and kind of who they are, how we know they exist, and we'll just kind of put some words and some kind of ideas around who they are. Now, spoiler alert, I don't know exactly who they are, okay? I have a good idea, but I don't think any of us really truly know who they are. But we'll go through some of the prevalent hypotheses of who they are. Because who is they, right? When you speak to someone who's, for lack of a better word, kind of a normie, and you say, and they go, who's they? Like so skeptical, like, who's they? See, because these people, they think that we're in the situation we're in just because of human folly. And I really don't believe that to be the case. And we'll dive into that more next week. So definitely stay tuned for that. We'll go through who are the dark forces? Who is they? All right, guys. I love you. Have a beautiful night. Bye.